Okay, I'm going to get started because it's 8 o'clock, so the others will just have to join us if they're coming. So most of you have been on the calls before. I think there's one or two new faces tonight. But basically, what we'll do is I'll start with a meditation again, 10, 15 minutes. See what emerges from that. So I'll guide you through that, and then we'll devote the rest of the call to inquiry questions that people have got. So if you want to get yourselves comfortable, and just gently closing your eyes and simply silently accepting all that's here now. Nothing you have to do, just silently observe. Witness without any judgment. All of the phenomena. Effortlessly. Silently. And as you simply, silently rest as awareness, just be open from your heart. And be open to the heart-based intention to connect with the energy of the spheres or spheres of light. This energy of the spheres is the same as the pure universal state I am. your being. And even this state, I am, is a phenomenon. It can be witnessed, noticed, observed from a deeper awareness. The silent witness within. Merging with this silent witnessing presence. And even this witnessing presence now dissolves like a sliver of ice into an ocean of water, effortlessly, silently, melting, dissolving, becoming one with the ocean. And the ocean is an ocean of infinite silence. You, your true essence, is that. Always that. Eternally one with this infinite silence. this rarefied atmosphere of silence. And just being open now. We'll ask this question inside. What if I know nothing? What if I know nothing? And just rest with that. And as you continue to rest with this infinite silence, that's eternally present, in a moment I'll ring the Tingsha bells. aware of the chair you're sat in, aware of your body, aware of the space, simply, silently aware. Moments right for you. Just gently opening your eyes. Good. Good. So let's just check in now and see if there's anybody has any questions or something they want to share from that meditation, or any other question that's here for you right now. I saw a hand go up there, but not sure whose it was. So
I've got Stefan.
okay, Stefan. Okay.
Hello, Philip.
Hi, Stefan.
Yeah, it was beautiful. This um, who would I be if I know nothing? I don't remember exact the phrase you said, but I could feel that there was no worry now. I could just feel that I could relax and I'm well taken care of. I just trust that life takes care of me, and that is a totally new experience for me.
Perfect.
I think it's since that interview you had a week ago, or something just it just integrated into me that I don't have to worry. Life is benevolent. And then I could hear unexpectedly some birds singing. I'm not sure if it was with you. And I thought at first, little irritation. I thought that, no, this is also part of it. Just trust and relax, and everything is just fine. Nothing needs to change. And really beautiful that you can just relax now, whatever happens. Well, almost. Really.
Good. Was that it, Stefan? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Good. So that's good. So I like the way that you, well, one, experience that, which is the most important element here, because when that's experiential, that speaks, they say a picture speaks 1,000 words, but an experience really is beyond words. And the beauty that you were pointing at there, or touching, experiencing there, feels to me like a deep touch of awareness of silence and stillness, and this sense that life will take care of itself, and you don't need to worry. And ultimately that's true, because you are life itself.
Yeah, I spent so much time relying on my mind to take care of everything, and now when I see that it's struggling, I just drop it and trust life instead.
Good choice. Good choice, because mind, as you recognized clearly, is always striving, always reaching, and is always in constant activity mode. and it's in a small s self-preservation mode, in its own beliefs, in its own thoughts, which it goes on sort of endless cycles, as you've discovered, always trying to protect this illusory small self-identity. That doesn't mean that you don't have this body-mind experience, because of course you have that. But as we explored on the previous call, who am I before the I thought, the individual I thought, creates the same effect as what if I know nothing. What we're doing, the journey we're going on here with the whole of this self-realization journey, is transcending the identity, transcending the body-mind experience into realizing that we are, in fact, ultimately the infinite silence, and that in itself has an awareness that's aware of itself as that. And when we trust that, rather than placing the trust in the mind, then that's a much more relaxing space, a much more totally, ultimately freeing space to be in. For some of you may have seen it on my YouTube channel. There's also an audio version on Insight Timer, a 5-minute video called Trusting and Daring Not To. And that's the invitation of life, really. There we trust the heart space of silence. And I'm pointing here at that, or touching with my physical heart here, but I don't just mean the physical heart. I mean that is intrinsically connected to or one with the infinite silence, and that's why I refer to it as the heart space of silence. The heart, if you like, it's just a turn of phrase or words for the universe. The heart space of silence. And that's essentially the experiential choice that we have in life, in this human form, head or heart. We may make many practical choices and do many practical things because we have a body. But in essence, when it comes to life itself, the experiential choice, the experience of the choice that we have is, do we go with what the heart is communicating, or do we go with what the head is communicating? And when we go with that, it's just so much more easy and effortless and graceful. And when it becomes experientially realized, we are that, and we allow that to integrate, then that is where the source of and the experience of peace, grace, joy, love, all for no reason, emerges from that very essence. So it sounds like both with that meditation and from the interview at the weekend, a deeper trust, a deeper allowing is emerging for you. And that's very, very important, Stefan. Very important.
I also noticed something that's really confused me, because sometimes I see that the mind gets very active, and then I have been thinking that, okay, this is not good, I need to calm down, and then I push that away, and I think I made things actually worse then.
Yeah.
So now I'm trying to just go with what happens, and trusting that this is here for a reason. Mm-hmm. And I can see that after a while my mind is really exhausted, and then I go back to slowing down again and meditating.
Good.
So it really makes it easy when the mind is exhausted, it can't think anymore, and then relaxation just naturally comes.
Excellent. So good awareness, very good awareness, because it tries to make a comeback or a fight back. They talk about heavyweight boxers making comebacks. You've probably heard of a few. And the mind is a bit like that, trying to make these comebacks, especially when you've had a deep touch of awareness, silence, stillness. It's kind of, a bit like the Star Wars movie, The Empire strikes back. The mind, the identity, will try to strike back or come back and fight for survival. But as you've noticed, rather than resisting that, just letting that be there and recognizing that that which you are is the one that noticed that fight, the wave of that fight, that tsunami of the fight emerging.
And I think what changed it is when you said, I know nothing. And I thought that, okay, what if I know nothing about what's going on right now? I'm making a picture that, okay, the mind is fighting, it shouldn't. But maybe the infinite I knows exactly what's going on and has a plan here. I would just go with that and see what happens.
Exactly. This is good. Trusting life then, is what you're saying there. Because this kind of comeback is happening, but it's all being observed, all being witnessed. And if it's just, there's a meditation that can be done, which you reminded me of when you first shared that, about this kind of fight back, this noisiness coming from the mind. And it sounds crazy, this meditation. It's not something that Philip Wade created or anything like that. It's been around for a long time. I'm not even sure what the root of it is, but what if I accept all thoughts?
That's a new one.
Yeah. It might be new to you, but it's very old spiritually. And, like that's just like, it's not fighting them, just accepting all. And that can have the same impact as just stopping or stilling the mind. Like there's no thought that I'm going to fight, no thought that I'm going to resist. And when there's no resistance there, then things quieten down. Things go stiller and quieter. And it's true also what you were pointing at. You realize that when the fight is going on, that noisiness and that activity is going on, eventually there's an exhaustion that comes with that. And that's like a kind of, like a point of surrender. Can't keep this up anymore. The identity can't keep this up anymore, the fight, the struggle. And then a relaxation, a stillness arises. How's that for you, Stefan?
That's really great. Thank you. I'm beginning to see this much clearer now.
Good. And that's because a deepening has taken place, a recognition has taken place. You might have heard these things said 1,000 times, but it starts eventually to become experiential, and that's the most important part. Good.
And the leading thing of this is to question everything that happens, but what if it's another way, and just try and see what happens.
Yeah. Just allow, just accept. Yeah. Don't analyze. Don't try and understand, because the mind will never get it. Whereas the awareness already knows. But it's not knowledge, it's awareness of itself as that. It's just simply, and wisdom flows from that silent essence. This is good. This is very good. Is that okay, Stefan?
Yes, it is. Thank you very much.
Perfect. I'm very pleased for you. Good. So has anybody else got anything they want to share or ask from? either from the meditation. John, I think I can see.
Yes. Yeah, what came to me, a question, something that's present for me at the moment is about perception.
Perception.
Perception, yeah. And well, some time ago, I don't know to put into words. Anyway, it's about going beyond perception. But what was happening for me is something. So something happened, and I have a particular perception of it. And then I've been finding I'm becoming more fluid, so I can change perceptions. So I can see, if you like, more than one truth. And then at some point, it lets go.
Yeah.
It's no longer present. And in a way, what's happening for me at the moment is I'm understanding or realizing that I can not even speed up the process, like go beyond the process.
Yeah.
In other words, beyond time and space.
Yeah.
Where all perceptions exist and all are true and none of it matters, kind of thing. This. Yeah. So, in terms of a question, I suppose I'm there some of the time, but not all of the time. And do you have any advice? Or, I mean, certainly your meditation helped just then, because I could actually feel, this letting, what I call it a letting go, but in a way there's nothing to let go. It's there. It's there. Gone, it's out of time and space, in time and space, like that vibrating. But the most of my consciousness is in that eternal peace during the meditation. So I can see this helps, and I guess I want to. What is the question here? It's really difficult. It's really easy. Yeah, I think it's to do with the knowing then, because when the knowing comes through, there's no attachment to perception.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Can you expand on that, maybe?
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So there's a few things that you said there. So it's sometimes one of them was a sort of sense of it coming and going, the knowing, but also changing perceptions. So the inquiry there is, who or what is aware of perception? So perception is happening, but who or what is aware of that? And even the changing perceptions, looking from here or here or there, who or what is aware of that? Don't try and analyze that from the mind. So who or what is aware of perception?
Well, the awareness itself.
Bingo. And is that awareness affected in any way by the changing perceptions? Or does it just watch neutrally?
Like the witnessing, the infinite witness.
Yeah. So even if we can't see that necessarily now, it eventually becomes capital S self-evident that whatever perceptions, this one, that one, or the one over here, or this emotion, that emotion, or the one here, or this phenomena, that phenomena, or the one over here, all of those are simply silently witnessed. And the one that's witnessing the changing perceptions, the changing emotions, the changing phenomena is always unaffected by the changing phenomena. So the inquiry always comes back to who or what is aware of whatever it is that's transpiring. It's another version of who am I? You know, the key inquiry question, who or what am I? It's just a different way of expressing that. And when we ask that and can be open to recognizing that there's just simply an awareness that's always here, and that awareness is always untouched by the content of consciousness, awareness. The content is an appearance on the green screen of consciousness. Just like in the movies, consciousness is like a green screen. But you're the one that's just simply silently aware.
Yeah, it's like you know, carrying the past or carrying the future. Once the awareness is present, then everything can be dropped, you know, in the moment. That's something I read today, actually. Just it's something, of course, I've known about forever, but but you know, it comes back at the right time to remind me that in the present moment there's no future, no past, so that all those perceptions don't matter really.
Correct.
And and bringing, and that's and so what I'm noticing is for me to be present, it means you know, being out of my head, really, being out of my mind, you know.
So like that song was it in the 80s, You Must Be Out of Your Brilliant Mind?
Oh yeah.
Do you remember that one? Yeah.
Vaguely, yeah, because 80s is good for me. So
I think it was, I can't remember, was it a band called Furniture or something like that? Yeah, there's a song, anyway, it has a line in there, you must be out of your brilliant mind. And that's not in the sense of going crazy, but in a good way. It's like be out of or beyond or before mind. And one of the other things that you said there that's worth unpacking is like, for me to be present, that actually is actually impossible for me, the identity to be present. Only presence is present, and that's a non-personal awareness. Me is an appearance within that.
Within the presence,
Yeah.
Yes, that's a good point. Yes, I got, as you were saying that, I could feel that.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's often when we're engaged in something and it's taking our full attention, then one forgets oneself, you know. It's just, everything's just happening without the mind needing to give any narrative.
Good. Yeah. So that's really important, this me bit, and not the me that's not present, because what the identity will try and do is claim awareness or claim self-realization, and that's not possible for it. One is the realization, one is the awareness, and the me is an appearance. The identity I is an appearance within that's simply observed and just seen to be, basically it's a thought obsessed with itself. And that thought, the individual I thought, that gets subdivided into thousands of different ways, and that becomes all the chatter, all the beliefs going on in the mind. But the awareness just is just like here, sat here, arms folded, thinking, well, this is interesting, kind of like, this is interesting. I'll just let the identity get on with it. So it's not the me that becomes present. It's a presence is always here, and you are that. And perceptions will happen in front of awareness. And they're neither good nor bad. They just are. Making sense?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. That's it. When the judgment's gone, and then that often helps to quiet. It's all happening simultaneously, but then the mind goes quieter, and then the awareness becomes more present, or the feeling,
The feeling, yes.
There's more presence, yeah.
There is a felt sense that comes with that, for sure. Yeah. But you're the one that's even aware of that. But there can be a felt sense of peace, stillness, silence, joy, grace, gratitude. But that awareness itself, that silence itself, is just simply unmoved even by that. Yeah. Like that. So we always come back to this inquiry, either it's in one form, who am I, or who or what is the one that is aware of whatever and the phenomena occurring. And we'll see, if we trace that back to its very source, that is non-personal and ultimately infinite awareness. And it will, as you also pointed out in the earlier part of the exploration there, eventually when one deepens enough into this meditatively space, there can come a point where, at least temporarily, the phenomenal world, this world, and all phenomena, and even the sense of body awareness and identity awareness will drop. And they'll just be, and this is the point of recognizing, realizing that one is that. So all there can be all the phenomena can drop, including, as I say, including body awareness, the space you're in, and identity awareness. And there's just awareness that's aware of itself as that. Making sense?
Yes. Oh, yes. Yeah, very much so. Yeah. That's lovely. Thank you.
Yeah, so that's the inner sense, or to express it another way, the return to innocence. Yeah, the return to innocence.
Yeah.
So this is an important exploration.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Is that okay, John, for you?
That's fine. Thank you. Yeah.
Very important. Okay. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, anybody else with anything to ask or share from either the meditation or generally?
Tara wants to speak.
Tara, okay. Yeah.
Just something to share really from the meditation, but also an experience that I had this morning. And it's about really kind of coming from your head down into your heart. And then, because for me, your head is your mind, it's your thoughts, it's your opinions, your perceptions and everything. But when you come down into your heart, that's, to me, that's where awareness speaks, or the wisdom of awareness comes. And this morning, I'm doing a course on the breath of life, and it's looking at different breathing techniques, and it comes with some yoga postures, which the one we were learning this week, I was finding particularly challenging, and I was in actually very uncomfortable, and I was thinking, I can't do this. And so I've been practicing it a couple of days, and I woke up this morning feeling really achy and sore, and I thought, right, today I'm just going to sit in a chair, I'm not going to do the posture. And then when I came to do the posture in the space of being open, I thought, just have a go and see what it feels like today. And I found, because this week it's also about linking in with your energetic body, which, you know, they talk about different layers, and it's all wording, really. It's all different ways to express the same thing. But I found myself being in a space where I could feel the uncomfortableness, but then I kind of expanded, connected with my heart, and then I felt this kind of, that energetic body, you know, very close to your physical body, and I felt myself kind of just relaxing into that space, and for the first time held the posture for the length of time that we should, you know, that was guided anyway, but I didn't have to come out of it because I was in pain. And I also felt in that space that I'd kind of expanded, and in that expansion, the pain was still there, but I was kind of held in the pain, and kind of, and it was really beautiful. And I'm kind of learning, or realizing actually, that you can read different books, or you can do different courses, but I'm kind of finding myself linking it all back to that very simple connection to awareness, which was really lovely. And so, yeah, so I'm not quite sure if there was a kind of a summary of it. I just wanted to share that actually, when you come out of your head and you come into your heart, and then another little question in the meditation today was, is the mind aware of awareness?
Is the mind aware of awareness? Okay.
Yeah, because it can get very panicky, and it kind of knows that you're kind of moving towards something. But then I heard you say, what if you know nothing?
Yeah.
So then it just disappeared into it, because the question itself is just a question from the mind, isn't it?
It is.
But I kind of wondered about this kind of, is there a kind of a relationship going on with the ego mind and awareness? Awareness is aware of the mind, but isn't affected by it. But kind of just looking from the mind's point of view, is the mind aware that actually there is something?
Okay, good question.
Yeah.
Yeah, good question. So So here's a question just to explore that. You don't need to answer this. I'm going to explore this with you and for everybody else as well. And I have a live stream on this on my YouTube channel, so you might want to look that up. Or whilst I think of it, for John, I meant to mention the last Zoom call, April, was called "Who Am I?" before the I thought, and that's on the YouTube channel. So that relates to your exploration, John. But going back to Tara, the live stream I was going to refer to there is called "Whose Mind Is It Anyway?" Don't need to answer that, folks. Whose mind is it anyway? Because we talk about my mind, and if you were to drill into your head, would you find, because you almost talk about the mind as if it was like an organ, but are you going to find something called the mind?
Yeah, because that's why I said the mind is just full of thoughts and opinions, and some of them your opinions, some of them other people's opinions as well. So
yeah.
Yeah.
So what is the mind? And here's a simple equation. Thoughts plus belief equals mind. Thoughts plus the energy of, or the weight of belief equals mind. And you'll see eventually that actually any thought is just a belief by another name. And when people say to my mind, what they're really saying is to my beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
And a thought is just a vibration in awareness, in the field of consciousness that you're tuning into, like a radio station, and then you're calling it yours, your thought. And so this identity that we've built up is just an I thought. The last video again, the last call that's now on the YouTube channel, that's become small I, self-obsessed. And when the belief is starting to dissolve in that by the recognition of awareness, it's true that fear can arise in the body because so much energy has been put into believing oneself to be this identity I, and then suddenly that's being taken away, and the experience of putting energy into the separate identity I, the belief in that creates, and that's a belief in separation from the essence, the silence. That creates the experiential inner experience of a sense of separation, and that's what creates the polarity of love and fear. And so the identity I, it's only a matter of degree, is always in fear. It might be mild to off the scale, but it's always in fear. And when the energy, when one trusts awareness, or awareness is trusted, then it's like energy's been taken away from the identity I, and that fear that's been built up by the belief systems over many years, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years in the body, has built the pain body or the emotional body. That's one of the energy bodies. And so that's there energetically imprinted. And so that fear, which has been suppressed to date, but as you deepen into awareness, it's like being jet washed from the inside. So awareness is going, oh, don't need to carry all this in this body anymore. And it comes up to be seen and felt physically. And if there's a recognition and a trusting that you're the awareness and not the appearance of the fear, then there's only one thing that's going to happen, just in the same way that a sound without any further input fades to silence. The vibration of fear is also just another vibration. And when it's witnessed from awareness, will also dissolve. Going back to the yoga pose, it's like the pain, the physical sensation is also a vibration of pain, but you were referring to it as, it was almost like, I'm not quite sure the exact words you use now, but kind of like held in awareness.
Yeah.
The way you articulated it or described it, it sounded to me like, yes, there was the physical sensation of what we'd call pain there, but there wasn't any judgment around it. There wasn't any attachment to it or belief that you were that pain. It was just there. And it sounded like, as a result of that, there was an ease, an acceptance of that I suspect if you'd continued there long enough, it would have just simply dissolved. You know, that, and it would have just faded. Whereas before, when the identity had been struggling with this pain, what there was going on there was identification and attachment to it. And so you were becoming the pain, and it getting accentuated in experience through that. But as it was being held, or if you like, watched by the silence without judgment, then the pose itself became easier. The experience of that physical sensation that you called pain became easier. And there was I'd hazard a guess from the way you were expressing it, there was a presence, a stillness there that hadn't been there before. Is that making sense?
Yeah. And I think I also linked the pain. I could feel like emotional attachment as well, which I kind of knew was like an old pain. But I mean, that's identity too.
It is.
And again, I felt that. So the question about, I wonder if the mind is aware of awareness. That is again that's again a concept from the mind, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And actually, so if you just let that go, which is why whenever you said, what if we know nothing, then it just disappeared. Correct. But I also, because the mind can be, quite creative, it can say, yes, I do know what awareness is, and this is what it is, and it'll take you down another road to kind of say, this is what awareness is, and then you feel you understand it, and then, but that's when the experience of it will just, you'll know that is your mind taking you on a journey as well.
So what's happening there is mind is trying to own awareness, which it cannot do. It cannot do.
Yeah. So really, all questions are from the mind, aren't they?
Yes, they are, but there is truth in that. But also, the reason I asked these inquiries, like, who am I, or what if I know nothing? Who am I before the I thought? Who am I without knowledge? Who am I without time? These are all our previous calls. The reason those questions come up is that they are invitations arising from awareness that we're articulating, not to be analysed from the mind, but actually to be open to releasing the identification with the mind.
Mm.
So when you ask an I question, a small identity I question, then that's all mind stuff. But in contrast to that, there can be an inspiration, an invitation arising from awareness that we can articulate in the way that I'm framed the question there in the meditation, that has a different essence or source to it. It's not coming from the identity. So it's true that 99.9% of the questions that I get asked will come from identity, but this inquiry, which it ultimately boils down to who or what am I, is arising from awareness. And then there might be various expressions of that, like without time, before knowledge, before the I thought, without this body mind, or so forth. These are invitations from awareness. There's a difference there. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. It's a bit like when you play the tinsel bells, or a sound, there is silence and then a sound comes, and then it disappears. So awareness can be is aware of that, but isn't. It's just aware of it.
Correct.
So an identity question will then take you on a journey, whereas awareness will see beyond the question.
Correct. Yeah. So these questions, these inquiries are arising from within awareness and are being expressed in a particular way, as is the guidance in the meditation, because the guidance there is coming from the silence, from awareness. It's being expressed really as invitations for you to not so much to listen to the words, but to transcend the words, transcend the guidance, to fall into or dissolve into the space from which they're arising. Because when it arises from that inner essence, the infinite silence itself, that inquiry, that invitation, that guidance carries what I would refer to as the energetic signature of silence within it. It's imbued within it. And so because that's embodied also in your form, and it will be recognized by that embodied silence, that acts as an invitation within itself, and you then transcend the guidance, and there's a recognition that you are one with that awareness or silence. That making sense?
Yeah. And so the pain as well, it's recognizing that the pain is there, but I'm not the pain.
Correct.
And if I just stay with it and not ignore it by saying, like, I'm not doing that pose because it hurts, just be in it, it kind of then relaxed, and I felt quite chuffed with myself that I'd done it. And and I could feel it letting something go in my body as well. And since then, like today, I have felt that I've kind of, I see it as like a ready break energy around me. I just remember that Ready Breck advert from when I was younger, that actually, and to me it's a reflection on being more than the body mind. So it's kind of like I could feel myself expanded all day, really. And that pain and uncomfortableness hasn't, it twinges now and again, but it hasn't had the same impact at all, because I just feel that there's this expansion that we are, you know, we are more than our physical body. And in that, when you connect with that energetic part of us, which is just an extension of our vibration, really, that's how I see it. That I feel like I'm walking around like the Hulk, you know, this super strong being, which is quite nice, actually. So yeah,
an expanded kind of beyond the physical vehicle. Yeah.
So thank you.
Good, thank you for sharing that. So there's some important exploration there. So is that okay for you?
Yeah.
Good, thank you, Tara. So let's see if there's we've got time for another. If anybody else has got anything to ask or share.
Can I just mention something?
Yeah, go ahead, Jolene.
So, like, I think you've got a video around this. Kind of what we've just been exploring there talks about the mind, and it can come across like the ego, the mind is a bad thing. But what's been seen here is that it's all the one infinite playing with itself. So there's kind of a choice to go with, like you've said, the head or the heart. But it's not like the head's like this nasty monster. It's just it's the fact that it's chosen to do that experience.
Yes. Yeah.
So there's not a this and a that. It's just the one thing. And, you know, do you want to play the game of head, or do you want to relax back and you know, chill and go with the flow type thing?
Yeah, exactly. Was that it, Jolene, or was that something?
Yeah, it's more, it's like just to expand on the fact that there's not this bad bit and this good bit.
Sure. Yeah, because the ego can get a bad press, can't it? Which is what part of what you're pointing at there. You're like and kind of like you might even say things, you know, killing off the ego or things like that. But it has a function, because you see, the absolute, the essence, the infinite silence, it's beyond time, beyond space, beyond form, beyond or before even being, and beyond contrast. So there's not literally nothing, no thing, and there's no thing happening there. And through the gift of beingness, and then the form, and the ego, what we call the ego, is like a link between the absolute domain and the physical domain, an individualized expression to create a uniqueness that we call Jolene. Now, without that, there wouldn't be the gift of that experience of Jolene, and the universe, if you like, is choosing to come to know itself in its own experience. And it'll do that in infinite variety, one of which is Jolene. Stars, planets, you know, every aspect of the universe. And so without that link of the ego, there wouldn't be this linear time experience and the universe coming to know itself in its own experience. And so that's a gift from itself unto itself. So the problem isn't the ego, it's the identification, the attachment, and most crucially, the belief that one is that. For without this uniqueness that creates the facet of the diamond that's Jolene, there wouldn't be any experience at all. There'd just be absolute silence, absolute. So we have to have that. It's the belief that one is that that's the problem. So the ego isn't the bad guy. It's a necessary part of experience. But all of that, and we go back to the first inquiry, or one of the early inquiries with John, who or what is it that is aware of that appearance of the facet of the diamond that we call Jolene? And it's, well, the whole purpose of this journey is to realize experientially that we are that awareness, that infinite silence. So although it can get a bad press, it's not actually a bad guy. It's neither good nor bad. It's just a necessary link in the chain of experience. And so we're not trying to kill off it. The invitation here is to recognize we're not that. But through the gift of this body-mind experience, the essence comes to know itself in its own experience, which it wouldn't be able to do, by the way, were it not for the triality of consciousness, which is form, silence, beingness, or form, spheres of light, beingness. Sorry, infinite silence, beingness, form. This 3 in 1 is necessary for experience, and the universe chooses that. So you're right, it's not a bad guy, and you're not trying to kill it off. What's happening here is the invitation to realize experientially one is that. Does that help?
Yeah, it was like what Stefan was saying. He was like trying to push it away and all that type of stuff, when actually it's literally just in the seeing of it, letting it be there, not as in like letting it be there and drinking it in. It's just, oh, okay. Yeah. Interesting type thing.
Yeah. Kind of like an inner smile at it, if you like. Yeah.
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 But either way, it's all one anyway. It's like it's like playing hide and seek with itself. Not really the right words, but kind of like that.
Yeah. That works. Yeah. Like, good. Is that okay for you?
Yes, thank you. I just thought, yeah.
So it's now 1:15, which is kind of the time. It's the time we're allocated for the call. But is there anything burning for anybody that wants to be shared or asked?
Lewis.
Okay, we'll cover that, and then we'll close after that. Go on, Lewis.
Hi, Philip. I was just the thought came up that I feel like I'm trying to, when you're saying the ice in the sea, I feel like I'm trying to expand, but I'm it's still iced, but I'm trying to stretch out with myself still in that kind of
right.
So I kind of I don't know how right this is, but I kind of feel like that I am, that beingness seems to be a thing, because as soon as I do kind of step into that, because there's like a gentle step out of the of a gentle step back on the body, but it's not much. It's just like a tiny like step of aura almost out, but there's a sense of silence there, and I don't know. I think in a way I'm kind of in my mind, I've got an expectation of what infinite means.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. So what came to me there as you were expressing that, Lewis, was that it won't be the identity I that expands. It might try to do that, and that's just mind stuff, trying to get involved with the process.
Right.
So if there's a trying there, or an effort to expand, whereas what the invitation here is simply relax. And so who or what is aware of that effort, or that urge, or that need to expand, and that all of that phenomena is simply seen by awareness.
Mm.
And if that's simply allowed effortlessly, then you talked at one point about a kind of a stillness or a silence being there.
Yeah.
And ultimately, this whole process of self-realization is effortless. Listen, this is not just for Lewis now. Listen carefully to this, folks. Ultimately, it's effortless. There's a live stream on my YouTube channel called Effortless Grace. So we do this stuff like, we call it meditation and inquiry, spiritual inquiry, who am I? And meditation begins as a practice, but it ends, the practice of meditation ends, and it becomes a realization. And you realize that you are the living meditation, always have been and always will be. Now, what you've been taught from since you were knee high to a grasshopper, this is whether it's Lewis or anybody else, you learn your times tables, you learn English, you do grammar, all these things, you learn all these things to get from A to B. But it's not like that with self-realization. Actually, the reverse, it's true. It's an unlearning. It's a disidentification from all that effort, all that striving, all that efforting to be a better version of yourself. And recognizing or being open to the realization that that which you are seeking is that which you already are. And that this awareness is simply, silently and effortlessly always the witness to whatever experiences is transforming in front of it. So the purpose of the practice and the inquiry is for you to transcend, to go beyond the practice, go beyond the inquiry, and simply, awareness is aware of all that is transpiring on the green screen of consciousness. And it won't be Lewis that gets it. There'll still be the body-mind experience of Lewis, but it'll be awareness that realizes itself experientially as awareness. And it will be manifest in this form of Lewis, because the universe, in its infinite wisdom, has chosen to express itself in that form. So there's a saying that you get there by realizing you are already there. And there is not a place in time or space or form. There is that which you are now as awareness or infinite silence. So this isn't ultimately a doing and efforting. You don't get, better marks from teacher for the effort that you put in. It's effortless. It's to take you to the effortless space. This the mind will struggle to get, and in fact it will ultimately never get. Because it's always striving, reaching, trying harder. And what the invitation here coming from awareness is, no, stop trying, stop reaching, stop seeking. So people go on a journey, they may be kind of, let's put it, we sometimes use the term, completely unaware of this, and then they become a seeker, and then go on a seeking journey. But the invitation here is to realize, not seek, realizing, not seeking. Seeking is an appearance in front of awareness. So the invitation of life from life is to realize you are life. So it won't be Lewis that expands, it will be awareness that's realized. But there can be a felt sense in Lewis's body. A felt sense in Lewis's body of that expansion. How's that, Lewis?
Yeah, feels all right. I think. Yes.
Perfect. So life is saying, no need to try, just be. Just be.
Is it like a swing? You've got the being, the form, and the silence. Is it a kind of the silence and the form on two ends, and the beings in the middle type thing? And is it a kind of?
It's more like a triangle. There's silence, being, and form, and they're all merged into one.
Right.
They're not separate. Although I've drawn a triangle here in my fingers, they're not separate. It's a 3-in-1. And the awareness, which will equate for the purposes of this discussion as one with the silence. Everything appears on the green screen of consciousness in front of it. One of those appearances is being, another appearance is form. And being and form are one with awareness / silence. But you're always, always, always. That which you truly are is always the awareness or infinite silence. Is that okay, Lewis?
Yes.
Good. So this isn't, we don't get prizes here for trying harder.
Headaches.
Yeah. Yeah. This is about effortless grace. Effortless grace. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yeah. Good. I just saw something pop up in the chat. Was there anything urgent there?
It's Nicole saying the book Holographic Universe could help with this too, suggested by Philip to me last year.
Oh yes, I've read that book many years ago. It's a good book. So if anybody wants to look, I think it's a guy called Somebody Talbot, the holographic universe. Is it John Talbot? I can't remember anyway. It's an interesting book. Okay, so I think we're kind of a bit over time, but I wanted to get to Lewis's question. The other thing is, some of you may have watched it live, but the Buddha at the gas pump interview was last Saturday. They've now taken down the link to that, although I think you can still watch that streamed version. But the edited video release of that, Rick tells me, I'm pretty sure I'm remembering this correctly, is the 16th of May. So that'll be released on the 16th of May. So I'll email the mailing list if you haven't seen it. I know some people watched it live and found it very, very helpful. Stefan was one. Ben was another, and various other people have emailed me since. So yeah, have a look out for that. Thank you so much for being here, folks. Many blessings, and I'll see you in a month. Bye now.